Awesome. So thank you so much first of all for having me on your podcast. This is fun. And so my name is Lia Holmgren. I've been working as an intimacy and relationship coach for over 10 years. And I specialize on outside the box sexual activities and people with kinks and fetishes and all sorts of things that normal therapists don't talk about. So I also wrote a book. I have one ebook on Amazon, and now I published freshly Hookup Without Heartbreak. So that's my new baby. That's my new project. And that's a book to help women empower themselves in the realm of casual sex and feel good about their pleasure.
We are so excited about that because that is like our main topic of focus that we wanted to really dive in with you, because I think we're very emotional people and I'm the single one of the group. So I've never been someone that felt like I could have casual sex because I'm an emotional person. So is that true? Like, is that just mean that casual sex wouldn't be for me?
So if you don't mind me reframe, because like even anger is an emotion. So sometimes guys say women are so emotional. I mean, meanwhile, they're angry. Like anger and, sadness, it's completely the same thing. So I wouldn't label yourself as emotional. Maybe you just are more sensitive and you get attached more because maybe your body produces more oxytocin than other people. There are all these things that I was digging into when I was doing the research for this book, and I read over 100 studies, and I wanted to know because I also get attached too. When I was single, I would get attached to these weird guys that I'm like looking at this guy, I'm like, I'm not gonna be with him. Like, for what? He doesn't even have a place. But I still was like texting him and please come. And, if the sex is good, then you get really attached. I call it addiction. You're addicted. But I think you can still work with that, because if you're having fun, then you say, okay, well, I'm having fun. It's like with medications, if the advantages are greater than the disadvantages, you do it. If if women don't have fun hooking up, like sex is bad, they can't open up really, they are shy, they have all these issues when they have casual sex. And then on top of that, they get attached. That's not good. But if you have fun, then I think, why not?
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Of my body just produces more oxytocin. And yes, I am just someone who loves to build relationships. That's my business personality. I like to socialize.
I love that reframe too, because I feel like, societally, we talk about women as if they can't have casual sex and like, they need the long-term partnership. And then that removes so much of the fun. Like there are so many scenarios when we just take fun away from women. Yeah. We're just like, actually, you get to have the shitty experience and let's leave that for
without
others.
Even asking though.
Exactly.
Where it's like, cause I've been in like hookup situations before where we've done stuff and then they've ghosted me or whatever. And then later they've come back and been like, no, I just like, I didn't want to hurt you. And I didn't want to get in this situation where like, I couldn't commit. It's like, you didn't even tell me that's what you wanted though. Like you didn't even give me a chance to tell you that
you think I want to commit to you.
I want this. I don't. I wanted good sex, which you also didn't give to me. You didn't give you the chance.
All these assumptions, and that's why I really like put strong emphasis on communication in the book. Like before you go, so sure, like you said, you like to build relationships, but before that, you want to know if the guy is good in bed too. So, like not every guy is gonna be great, and you might want to not ever see him again. So, but I think communication is great. To tell. I always tell guys when I was dating back then. I don't do it anymore now. I'm not single, but when I was single, I would say, you know what, I'm looking for fun, no strings attached. I'm not going to bother you, but I require respect and kind treatment. That's the only thing I want. Like, I don't want you to treat me like I wouldn't be human. Treat me as your friend.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I want. So.
And if someone doesn't have a good response to that statement, you're like, you're done. You need to go. Interesting. So then how do you like navigate casual sex if you consider yourself like a little bit anxious, like a little bit more of an overthinker? Like what point do you need to get to within yourself to feel like you can handle those connections to let them come and go as they will?
So like I have a lot of tips on that too. I think like it's like there's kind of a meditation. Try to think about something else. A lot of times they tell us when we have negative thoughts, we can like rewire our brain and become sick and have fight or flight constantly in response. So it's good to just change the thoughts. Like the moment you feel like that you're thinking about him again, you just start thinking about something else. Like literally make a stop to this process and do it as long as you need until you just stop thinking about it. It's work. It's not easy, but it's doable. Like with everything, people love to think negatively also. And it's hard for me, like when I coach people to be more positive because they can heal themselves literally with their health. So this is the same process. You say, oh no, oops, I'm thinking about him again. Okay, what I'm going to eat tomorrow, just something else. Or like think something fun, like what I'm going to do with my girlfriends. Where do I go for a vacation? Just start fantasizing about something else.
Yeah. I've seen those things where people have like rubber bands or something on their wrist and like they'll snap it when they see them doing a habit that they don't like.
So what helped me too? I start counting from backwards, like every increments of 7 or 3 from 100, and that gives you so much brain of stimulation that you forget.
Yeah, that would be harder for me than forgetting a guy.
I think I could do the 3. The 7 would be hard for me.
After 21, I'm done. 7, 14. Yep, no. Right around.
I think another aspect for me with casual sex and how I think of it is that, I have a tendency to think that casual sex is bad or that it will hurt me. So what are the benefits of having casual sex?
Oh, there are so many, and it took me a long actually I knew them from myself, but I wanted to see what other researchers have to say. And the issue there was like, there's so much research on how bad it is for women, but there's so little on how positive it could be. And there is a colleague of mine, she's also a sex coach and educator, Zhana Vrangalova, who is a researcher. And she was the very first one of not many people that actually were researching the pluses, the pros of casual sex. It was interesting. I quoted her a lot in the book too. And, first of all, health-wise, like it's great for your skin, your hair, like it's relaxing. You get a lot of like the oxytocin. It's great, for you. And you can also go really wild, I think, in casual sex because you don't know that person that well. And I always say, this is your chance to try all your dirty fantasies because you don't know if you're going to see them again. And a lot of times people are like, I would never tell this to my husband, but if it's a lover who I barely know, you feel more open about it.
Right.
So I think that's a fun part too. And then also no strings attached, like even women, we don't want to constantly deal with the jealous boyfriend or like, making him happy. And so it's great if you have casual sex, you don't have to do any of that. Who cares if his cat is sick or he has to go to see his cousin or mom? Like it's none of your business and you don't have to do this treatment. So
who cares? I love that.
I was actually talking to a friend about casual sex because we had heard somebody say it wasn't good for women. And so we were talking about how much she enjoys it. And she mentioned the same thing, like being able to engage in her dirtiest fantasies and like, just really go all out and not think about, well, what are they going to think of me later? And what's going to happen next week? Because there isn't that same attachment. And so they were talking about how casual sex is some of the best sex that they have because of that reason.
Yeah, plus it's new. So novelty is always exciting, Some people like more novelty than the others. Some people don't feel safe with new things. But, if you're seeking excitement, it's great,
How come? I feel like sometimes I'll go through phases where I can be totally like, yes, I want to do this. And then you have casual sex and you kind of feel like a weird regret or shame after. But before and in general in your life, you're like, I'm so pro doing whatever you want to do. How can it still feel a little weird after it's done?
I have 2 explanations to it. One, if the guy was bad in bed, then maybe you're like, okay, this wasn't worth my time. But that's a simple explanation. The more complex one is that most of us women in this society, we have this like secondary voice that's like, okay, I'm dirty. Why did I do this? Because we are learned subconsciously that this is not supposed to happen. we're not supposed to do this. And we get like this weird underground shame, you know, and that might be like making you feel really weird.
Yeah. Is there
oftentimes if you analyze it, like, it's like, maybe I shouldn't have done it. What if he thinks something about me? What if he shares it with people? Like all this like weird stuff. And yeah.
Is there any way to work through those after thoughts that make you feel like dirty and shameful?
Positive self-talk. You hypnotize yourself into knowing that it was fine. You had an experience. And I also say gratitude amplifies. Like you just are grateful for the experience.
Yeah.
You know, in life we have bad experiences, good experiences, mediocre experiences, but we have to be grateful for them, because I think that's all experiences make the life worth living. You know, so just like, yeah, I'm grateful I met this guy. We had sex. It was nice. I learned something from that. You can find what you learned. Maybe there's something new, and that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just mentioned finding somebody. How do you find the right people to have casual sex with? And I guess in line with that, like, what should you look for in a casual sex partner?
So I don't know, finding, you know, I'm not really into those apps, to be honest with you. I think like mostly friends recommendations, you know, if you're really looking for someone, tell your friends, you know what, I'm looking for someone fun. If you come across someone, let me know. I like that because that's a safer way. Or, you know, you meet people through work. Now it might be challenging with COVID if you work from home, but usually events. But as I said, like for me, the most important is, of course, first of all, the upper attraction. That's of course, if you have chemistry with someone. But I want this person to treat everyone well. Like you want him to be kind. You want him to be responsive. Like the way people communicate is very important for me, because if they communicate poorly at the beginning, it's just going to get worse. Right. And what I also like, you know, I tell people, like when I started dating my fiancé, I would say, you know, I like when you reach out to me once a day before you go to bed. Or I like, you know, sometimes you don't like, you say, you know what, I'm really busy. I don't like to chit chat. It's enough if we talk once a week, but I would appreciate it. And you see if people do it, you know, but as I said, like for the hookup, just make sure he's kind and he's accepting your boundaries. And you can always test it, because you want someone who respects your boundaries.
Right.
You know, that's all. Like other things are easy, because you want respectful guy.
Yeah. You saying like, and then you see if they do it was like, powerful. Because I feel like you can talk about talking all you want and talk about good communication, but it's like, it's seeing if they listen and they respond with that.
Like for example, this was like beautiful story. Like you go out, you meet someone at a party, you're really turned on, you want to have sex. So there are two ways. You're going to have sex that night, but then, you know, you're drunk, maybe, you know, you have a good time. Maybe next day you're going to feel weird. The guy's not even going to know your name because you guys both are partying, whatever. You can do that if you're fine with the result. Or what you can say is, you know, I'm really into you. Here is my phone number. If you're still into me tomorrow, you will reach out. And then when he's sober and he's going to say, oh, I remember this beautiful woman I met, and he calls you, that's a good indication that he really wants to see you.
Yeah.
You know?
Are there other like groundwork rules maybe that you have with casual sex, like beyond explaining your boundaries? Like I'm just trying to, if you want to have quick, fun, casual sex, like how do you do that while also making your boundaries known, but also not talking the whole time?
Yeah. No, you don't have to talk all the time. You know, it's just like very simple stuff. So I think just know yourself first. Know what you really want. If you say like, I'm hunting for someone to have casual sex with, then it's pretty much clear what you want and you can go after it. You know, if you say I'm looking for a boyfriend, then it's probably a different story. But just go after it. I'm very direct with guys. And I know that there were many books published that said you shouldn't be direct and you should wait for the guy. I disagree with that, because we are in the Me Too movement era where women are taking charge and guys are getting a little bit more laid back because they don't want to take charge all the time from clear reasons. So I think we have the right to say, hey, you're quite cute. I'm interested to have fun with you. It's no strings attached, you know. Yeah. Are you in? I mean, I've done that many times. Guys are a little bit surprised, but they're really happy. It's like, wow, you know, why not? Like, we can do that too. I mean, they've been doing it all the time. Why, you know, so I think that being direct and open about what you want is going to get you what you want.
Yeah.
I love the phrases that you're using too, because they're so simple, but they're such power moves too. Like there's so much confidence in what you were saying, but it's like simple enough to where, I mean, you know, I'm engaged, and so I probably won't be having casual sex.
You could role play
at least
being strangers
anytime soon. But like, I don't know, I wouldn't get tripped up on those words and be nervous. It would just like, it's short enough that it would just come out. Yeah. And then I would be done. I really like that.
But we need to talk that way, you know, we need to be direct and clear, because if we go around and around, we're constantly trying to like rephrase what we want to say, we get people confused.
Yes,
exactly.
And especially now when all the sexual abuse is coming out, and Me Too, and oftentimes men are confused. Women don't really state it clearly. So I'm all about clear communication. I want to have sex with you. I want to have fun, and let's do it. If you are in, you know, that's it. And if you don't want, you say, no, I do not want this. Not maybe, and this and that, perhaps, you know, not these words, just clear. Guys, they are really good with simple sentences that they understand.
And I give a million disclaimers when I'm talking, like a million disclaimers, especially if I'm nervous with what I'm talking about. And with what you were saying, you know, with the Me Too movement, if you are sleeping with the right people, they are going to want to respect your boundaries, and they are going to want to be extra cautious. And so it makes sense if you are being, you know, I kind of want this, but I'm not. Are you okay with that? Like, are you sure? What if, like, is this okay?
Yeah, that's just a lot.
But that's too much. It takes all the sexiness out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Right. I feel like it takes your power in saying, like, I want this, and giving them the respect of like responding to your statement out of it. Yeah. It's like, I think you're cute. I would love to go home with you if that's something you want to do. And then they need to say yes or no and be clear on it.
And the same thing you can do, you know, like I always tell girls, before you go out with this guy sober, you imagine, and now you imagine, okay, I'm going to go with this guy. He starts kissing me. I go to his house. I'm going to have sex with him. How do I feel about it? And if you feel awkward, say, okay, maybe it's not the right time. I just want to kiss him, or I want to have more time. You know, be honest about it. You know, say, hey, I want to go to your house. I want to play around, but I do not want to have sex. If you can respect this, I'm happy to play, you know? And then you say that. And then, you know, if you see he's pushy, then I would just be really like, okay, this is not a good guy. Because if you say, I don't want this, and then he tries to give you a couple of drinks and push your boundaries, I hate it. Yeah. You know, because women then oftentimes give in because they don't want to have conflict. And guys oftentimes get really pushy, and then they are traumatized from that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean like if you're naked at someone's house, you have to have sex with them. But I like to say it before, because guys get really angry sometimes. It happened to me many times. Like, now you're here naked and I'm horny. Like, am I obligated to make you come or what? You know? So I'm very direct. I do not make big fuss around it, but I will tell them, you know, I kind of want to cuddle. I want to make each other feel good, but I do not want to have penetration. That's it. Are you in? If you're not in, then we do it another time. That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
Being so clear is something I'm going to, or being confident in saying those words is going to be something I work on. I think I can be clear if I feel confident enough, but working on my confidence to say, like, own my sexuality and my wanting to explore casual sex, that's going to be something I think I need to work on a little bit.
Yeah, but the question is also like, what is the worst thing that can happen? I tell girls, like, my confidence, what is he gonna say no, or is he gonna say no, I'm not interested? I'm like, go like next one. There's like so many people on the planet, you know what I mean?
No, that's so true. And when you think of it, when you're not standing in front of someone, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can also feel like you're on the brink of crumbling.
So what do you do with the no? You know, you've like worked up this confidence, and I'm sure as you like do it more and more, you get that confidence, and it's easier to, you know, realize that rejection isn't really a rejection of you. But like when you're just starting out, how do you deal with that no?
If they say no to me, I mean, I tell you honestly, like, we have very strong intuition as women. And if guys, you are not just going to go to a random guy you never talked to and tell him you want to have sex. there you're gonna probably be having drinks with him or dinner, and you guys are gonna be flirting, and you're gonna feel the sparkle. Like, I wouldn't also go to a guy I barely know and say, hey dude, let's go. No. It's just like in a situation that you're on a date and or you meet someone and you are flirting with, and you can feel. And then honestly, the chances of him saying no, if he says no to that, is most likely that he has a wife at home, or he has to go for 6 a.m. flight, or something reasonable that you are gonna understand, you know, and you guys gonna stay in touch. And that's not something that should hurt you. And even if he's not interested, he's not going to tell you directly. He's probably going to make something up. So it's not going to hurt you anyways, you know.
So
like,
just
and
accept that anyway.
Yeah,
accept it. Who cares? Like, don't even think about it, you know.
Yeah,
it's fine. I mean, it's who asks gets. Who doesn't ask is not going to get.
That's a lesson I feel like I'm learning right now, just in other realms. Is like, you just have to ask, and you
like, just have to ask.
No one's going to ask for you, and no one's going to make situations happen for you.
Yeah, and I know it's uncomfortable with everything, with asking for favors, asking for help. A lot of people cannot do it, but I learned in my life that people would love to do things for you, and guys would love to have sex with you. We just need to let them know, because oftentimes they're also waiting. They don't want to be not gentleman enough, and they're waiting, and at some point you might ruin something really great because you don't want to ask.
Right.
Yeah.
So what if you're in this like casual sex relationship and you guys have agreed that like this is what you're doing, and someone starts having feelings? Like, how do you deal with that situation?
I go for honesty again. And I have a chapter on that in my book too, which was really interesting to write, because if you feel like you're falling in love with someone and it's getting unbearable, you need to tell him, because maybe he's also falling in love with you. And if he's absolutely not, then I would suggest you break it up, because you're gonna get hurt.
Right.
You know,
the common
thing to
do.
You know what? Right? Like, just be honest. Say, hey, you know what? I'm falling for you. Sadly, that's not what I planned. And how do you feel about us, you know, becoming more? Or how are your feelings? I'm curious what's in your mind. You know, right. And you will go from there.
It's sounding like there's no like secret trick. It's about like being confident, owning your shit, and being clear with what you want.
And honest.
And honest, which is gonna be scary for some people to like either say and or receive. But I think there's also a lot of power in that, obviously, because you get what you want probably more often than not, because you're asking for it.
Exactly.
In a good way.
Yeah. It is very simple, actually. I'm trying to make super complicated thing that people think it's complicated, super simple. You know, and it's like, I'm from Europe, so in my country, or where I'm from, and like I grew up in Germany, you know, when we say something, it means that, and it's very simple. You know, so I'm trying to teach that how I grew up. And I have absolutely no problem to say no to people and be strict with that. And also I learned from my mistakes. You know, I was in situations where I got myself into, and I was like, what the fuck did I do? Like, why I'm in this guy's place? Like, what I'm doing here? You know, how could this happen? And then you're in these awkward situations that end up like poorly, and you have like bad memories. We don't need that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, there's so many like tips and tricks, and how to tell if someone's doing this, and what to do if you feel like they're pulling away. And it's like, all of that is so exhausting. I'd rather just ask if you want to have sex with me, and ask if you like me. Like, that's literally it. So I love that that's the angle that you're teaching and that you're bringing, because like it just does seem so simple when it
all makes sense
your way.
And as I said, like I really wrote step by step, like, what do you do if he doesn't reply? You do this. What do you do if his reply is lame? You do this. What do you do if his replies is like, I didn't really write about the great stuff, because then you don't need my book. You know, if he's responsive and nice, you're dating, you have fun, you don't need to read my book, then good luck. That's great, you know. But
great for you.
If you get to those situations where you're like, okay, what do I do now? It's like, I have all these beautiful women. They were beautiful and smart and cute, and they came and paid so much money for coaching just to reply messages to guys. And I'm like, really?
Yeah,
it's a waste of your money. Like, I mean, it's my time, so I get the money paid, but I didn't want to like have women spending this money and time to just reply to guys.
Yeah,
like, you know, so such a waste, you know.
Exactly. Oh, that's so true.
That like really.
And then not mentioning the
know.
weeks and months of like, what do you think, Lia? What do you think he's saying in this message? And you know, like decoding this stuff.
Yeah. So if they're being unclear, would you just, and like, if you start feeling yourself decoding messages and asking your friends what they think, is that just your sign to be like, okay, you need to ask what the fuck he wants or leave?
You know, I studied mediation, and oftentimes when you do mediation, you have to rephrase things. And if you're unclear of what he thinks, say, let me rephrase, or you ask him like, is it what you are saying? And you rephrase that what you think he's saying. You know, and then you ask, like, if you don't understand, you ask. And it's like, does it mean you are not comfortable with meeting again? Or does it mean you are comfortable to meet or you want to meet again, you know? And sometimes guys just can't say no, and they're like going around and around. And I asked so many guys, I interviewed so many men for this book, and I asked them like, what do you do when you don't want to see the woman again? And they're like, I make myself busy. And I'm busy until, and then every guy said, no man is busy for sex.
Yeah, that hits.
They are not. They can be dying tired, flying overnight, red eye, doesn't matter. If they can get laid, they will. Yeah. Most of guys of any age.
Whoa.
You know? Yeah.
Well, and it feels like, you know, in these situations where we're decoding messages, like really trying to construct these perfect responses, we're bending over backwards. Really, it's to make sure that they still like me.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do you get over that? Which I guess that's a much bigger question because that's really in like all of life. But like, how do you start to work through that idea of like, I need this person to like me?
Yeah. So the question is, why do you want that guy to like you? What is so great about him? That's the first question to ask yourself. Like, what is that? You know, and then you saw, he makes me laugh. No, you can look at YouTube videos. They will make you laugh too. Or he makes me feel safe. No, you can make yourself feel safe. And oftentimes you find out that there is actually nothing about this guy that's so special. Nothing that your friends and guy friends and family and you yourself can give yourself. Because truly, there is no one that's special on this planet that you need unless he's treating you right. That's the only special thing about people. If they're treating you right and they're nice to you. If they're not nice to you and they're not treating you right and the way you want it, they're useless. Yeah. You know?
that itself could be the full episode. Yeah. Just that sentence. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. I am totally like, there's one guy that I message from community college forever ago. I have no interest in him whatsoever, but like we'll send each other memes back and forth sometimes. And I'll still like try to be funny and check to see if he's like seen it yet, because I want him to want me, even though I don't give one fucking shit about him. But it's like this need to be desired in some way, but it's like, but why?
Well, it's probably coming from your childhood, you know. I've read about that also, actually. This is interesting because sometimes when we were kids, maybe we needed attention from a dad or mom and they weren't giving it to us, and we were trying to be the best for them to please them or show them that we are great kids. And that could be from there, or it's just like maybe you need some ego boost and you think that this guy can give it to you. You know, right. I mean, it's usually our ego and self-esteem that needs to be boosted, and we feel like I need to get him. Like, this is our ego, and it's the worst. It's the worst thing. Like, our ego costs us so much money and time. That is, and I love to meditate on that, because sometimes when you meditate, you just forget the ego, which is actually really unhealthy for us oftentimes.
Yeah, it can
it's
be.
Like, why does my ego needs to be pleased by that guy? Or whoever it is, you know, like, why do I need that attention? Like, why do I need likes on social media? For what? Because there is something in me that needs the attention, and it's coming from somewhere deep inside of me.
Right.
And once you learn what it is, or you understand that there's something that I don't want to deal with, you will not need this anymore in your life.
Well, and also kind of like what you were saying, Emma, like reframing it of like, well, my friends give me that attention. And like, that feels really good. And like, why am I not giving that the same weight as I'm like giving this literal stranger who sucks?
Who sucks?
Like, why?
Right.
It's because, oh my God,
like
so much is clicking.
The ego condition, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm going to prioritize this weirdo over these people that I've chosen to have in my life and keep there.
Right.
And it's like, oh, what if I just like make that little switch? And it's, I think, a lot easier than we make it out to be. I don't think it's that complicated to make that switch.
No, because we take people around us that are close to us for granted, which we shouldn't.
Right.
You know, but once we like have their attention, then we know they love us. Like we don't really, you know, take it for granted, and then we try to like, you know, get that variety somewhere and try to get other people interested in us. And that's, I mean, it's not right. First of all, I think a lot of people do it. That's for sure. That's why also like when you get in fight with the closest people in your life. You know, so oftentimes we treat people close to us worse than we treat people we don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, once we understand it, that's very important. You are not going to care about these people.
Definitely.
That you don't know. Yeah.
So if you're having casual sex and you're fine with that, but then they like stop responding and don't really give you an answer why, how do you find closure for yourself with someone that's like ghosted you? Like you're okay with it, you're fine with just the casual, but like I just need a little closure and they're not responding.
I know. We're suckers for closures. I need closures too. And I know when people just suddenly change their attitude to me, it doesn't necessarily need to be ghosting, but like when I have close friends who just suddenly, you know, so what I did in my past, I would literally send a message, say, hey, it's Christmas is coming. I really want to have a closure. Clearly, you're not interested to be my friend or lover anymore, but I wonder if there's anything I did to upset you, or is there anything that happened in your life that you would like to share? And if you don't get any reply, then that person is just not worth your time. I know it's difficult, but it's not about you. It's most likely something going on in their life. And oftentimes people project pain on us, on others, you know, or they just, you know, are not worth your time. And that should be the closure, you know. Right. We had an experience, it's over. Everything in life ends. You know, we have to just live with it.
If you are the one that is ready to end it, what is a way to do that kind of provides closure for that other person without having to do all of the disclaimers and, you know, put yourself in a weird situation that takes away your power?
You know, just be kind and say, you know what, this situation doesn't work for me anymore. Like I want to explore something else right now, or I'm, you know, working on some project, or just be honest, but don't go like, you don't say, you know what, you, I don't know, like you have bad breath. I don't want, you know, like things that could hurt people for long term, I wouldn't do, but take it. I am not in the space to be in a relationship right now. And I think you're a great person, but we're on a different page right now, or in a different situation in life.
Right.
And I want to move on. And
that's like all you really need to offer, right? Like if you keep coming back with more and more and more, it's like, I already gave you your answer.
If they said, did I do something wrong? It's like, no, you didn't, but I'm just in a different spot in my life that this doesn't work for me right now. That's it. You don't need to do more because it's true. Right. You know, whatever it could be, it's a general kind of statement that is clear to most people. And if they keep asking and asking, then they are intruding your privacy at that point. You know, like people need to understand. If someone would tell me, hey, I'm not in a spot to date you anymore or see you, I'm in a different place in my life, I would be like, okay, that's it. Good luck. And, you know.
Right.
Yeah. When you said that everything ends, I was like, damn, that's so true. And I am working on like acknowledging a no response as closure itself. Cause I am someone that likes to have like everything tied up in a nice little bow, but I know that that's just not how it's going to work in the world all the time. So using someone's like inability to give me what I need can also be my closure, even if they don't tell me like, hey, I can't give you what you need anymore. You know?
Yeah, exactly. That's also closure. Yeah. You know, it's beautiful to learn how to let go. Yeah. And the last chapter in the book is like, what you can't accept, change. What you can't change, accept. And that's it. You know, it's you know, next experience. Life is so rich with experiences and people. Why would you waste your time thinking about this? You know.
Yeah.
Off to the new adventure.
That sounds
Yeah.
a lot of stuff we need to do.
Mhm.
You will definitely be seeing us in your purchased books section.
And you know, like there are much worse things in life that happen we need to be sad about. Like I think that casual sex shouldn't be something to be sad about and waste too much time on. That's why I said, you know, do it right, know yourself and enjoy. And move on if it doesn't work, because honestly, for me, for women, it's the easiest thing to get laid. To be honest with you, like if that is a problem, then I don't know. Life can get really complicated. But casual sex shouldn't be one of those turmoils, you know.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Yes. So fun to talk to you guys. It was really cute. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Where can our listeners continue to connect with you after this episode?
Oh, I have a website, first and last name, liaholmgren.com. There's a form to fill out if people want to reach out to me. And my book, Hookup Without Heartbreak, is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and actually at this point internationally in many countries. So
we'll have it linked in the show notes too, because
awesome.